In 2.5, we're going to have to take these sentences that are written out in words, and we're going to have to write equations from them. And just like we read sentences from left to right in English, we're going to do the same thing in math. We're going to read from left to right, and we're going to write equations. But certain words are going to mean certain things. And so let's write down a few things that I'm hoping we've learned in previous years of school. Okay? Let's start off with words like addition. Addition. There are some words, when you see them, means addition. Like the word sum. When you see the word sum, it means addition. If you see the word combined, usually that means we're going to add the two numbers together when we see the word combined. If you see the word added, that means addition. Most of the time when you see the word total, it means addition. There's another word that sometimes you may or may not know, but it's the word more. If I have 2 more dollars than you, all I have to do is add 2 to your amount to know what I have. I have 2 more dollars than you. I just add 2 to that. There are some words for subtraction. By the way, I'm pretty sure you guys know this, okay? Let me check, let me get a feel. How many of you knew these 5 words meant addition? If you know you knew it, raise your hand please so I could see how many already knew that. That's a lot of you. Good. Okay. Thank you for your hands. Let's do subtraction. If you see the word minus, if you see subtracted by, if you see less than, it means subtraction. I'll put a little subtraction symbol here next to subtraction. One other person told me takeaway. Oh yeah, I remember takeaway. It's kind of funny. I'm going to take away your phone. Subtract the phone from you. And there you go. So your parents say that one to you all the time. Yes?
Nope.
Oh, they need to say it more often then. There we go. Just throwing that out there. Sorry, not just you, Devin. Not you in particular. Where, shh, shh, shh. Multiplication. Let's go there.
There's also one for subtraction.
That I have not said. There are more than this, just this list. Which one do you think, though?
I was thinking of difference.
Oh, I like that word. Let's throw that one up there as well. If you see the word difference, that also means subtraction. Okay? There are other words. This is not an exhaustive list, but I was looking at your homework paper and I go, okay, these words are the ones that they're going to see most often. Let's go to multiplication, which is usually either in high school as a dot or it's going to be parentheses. Dot or parentheses is multiplication. Let me adjust this camera so you get to see it there. And basic words that mean multiplication: times, product, multiplied, or even the word, I know this one's unique, P-E-R, per. The price per cookie is 50 cents per cookie. If you have 2 cookies, you are going to multiply 2 times the 50 cents. Per usually means multiply. Usually. Let's go to division. Words divided by. A fancy word is quotient. And sometimes per. It just depends. If I'm thinking of miles per hour, just like in the previous unit, I'm hoping you have miles on top, over, hours on bottom. Sometimes. Just depends. So you're going to have to pay attention to the context in order to know whether per is division as a fraction or per like you're going to multiply the price per cookie or price per lawn or something along those lines. One other word that we're going to write that not addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. I want you to write the word than. T-H-A-N. I want you to write it as do this after. Do this after. When you see the word than in terms of mathematical context, 9 times out of 10, the word than is going to mean do this after. For example, 10 more than X. And 10 less than X will mean something. 10 more than X and 10 less than X. I'm hoping you know what the word more means. Up here, more means that we're going to add. 10 added, do this after. 10 added after, we have an X. X plus 10. It means we add 10 after we have the X. X plus 10. I want you to look at these sentences written like that. Here's your second example. 10 less than X means 10 subtracted after the X. We would write it as X minus 10. Somebody said, 10 more than X, can I just put 10 plus X? Sure you can, but it's not going to help you when you get to 10 less than X. If I'm reading from left to right, I should know what to do from left to right as well. And I say that the word than is used after 9 times out of 10. The only other time that you use than for something different is if we're using it for an inequality. So we're not doing any inequalities today, but I just want to throw this out to you just in case you were wondering what's the other possibility of the word than? Inequality. Inequalities are like when I say if you are less than or equal to 16 years old, raise your hand. Less than or equal to 16 years old, raise your hand. Go ahead if you are. Almost all of you. Okay? Thank you. Inequalities, if I say less than 16, let's just go with that. That's the only time that than does not mean after, because it's referencing an inequality. This is the 1 out of 10 times, but we hardly ever have these words for inequalities. I'm just letting you know that right now. So, one other word, Then we can do some examples. Is. What does the word is mean? I hope you know.
Equals.
Equals. Or we can put the symbol as well. So let's look at something that looks like number 4. Let me adjust my camera a little bit. Something that looks like number 4 says 10 more than 8 times a number, and theirs is in italics, but I'm going to put mine in quotes, is, quote, quote, B. 10 more than 8 times the number A is B. Ten more than 8 times the number A is B. Is the first thing I write a 10? Nope. The reason we're not going to write a 10 is because this says 10 added after 8 times a number A. So I'm hoping you know that when you read this, you have an order from left to right of how you write things down. 10 added after. So what I like to do is I like to write down, oh, this means added. Underneath there. This means after. And I'm just going to have after 8 times the number A. What do you think that's going to look like? 8 times a number A. That's what I'm going to write. 10 added after 8A. What am I going to write for my equation? Any ideas, Jasmine? Nope, she doesn't know. Eric, any ideas?
8A plus 10 equals B.
8A plus 10 equals B. And I know this may look really foreign to some of you. 10 more than 10 added after 8 times the number A. 8A plus 10 is, means, equals B. So Jasmine, we're good with that? Is this hard or easy? You feel okay with this? Let's try another one then. Okay? Because this is what I'm doing. Did I ask you to solve for A? Did I ask you to solve for B? No. I just want you to write an equation right now. The first side of your worksheet. Can you write an equation from the words? If that was easy for you, good. That means you can do the whole front half of the worksheet. Let's look at number, I don't know what number this is. I don't have a number next to it. 6 more then. The quotient of a number T and 13 is V. Let me adjust my camera a little bit. 6 more than the quotient of a number T and 13 is V. Mr. Fritsch, what do you think I'm going to do for this part right here? Okay, so here's what I recommend if you're going to do second. Let's put plus 6, but let's leave a little bit of space because something is going to be in front of it. That's what he's telling us to do. 6 is going to be added after something. Now, Mr. Fritsch, do you know what's going to go in front of it?
13 divided by T.
Okay, it has to go in order. The quotient of a number and 13. If they say quotient of a number T, that means telling you the first thing on top is T, And the thing on bottom is, it has to be in order. I'm glad that you said that because it reminds me to remind you. So what should be on top? And what goes on bottom? T over 13 plus 6. Let's go back to Jasmine. Is V. What does that mean, Jasmine? Equals what? V. Good. Good job, Jasmine. And that is as far as I want you to go unless I ask you to solve or plug something in. Now we're going to do one last example, and then I'm going to give you the worksheet, and then me and Mr. We'll go around the corner here. I don't know where my brain just lost it right there. There you go. Last name? Scribner. There you go. I got his first name right here though. Jordan. It's just last name just went out of my mind. I'm too old. I'm getting old. I'm sorry, kids.
You're like 30 years old. Chill.
I'm almost 40. I'm almost 40.
Take it down a couple notches. You're still
Barely.
yeah.
I'm over twice your age. I want you to know that.
Take it down a couple notches.
And how do you twice something?
You multiply.
By what?
2.
Good. I'm saying that because that's actually on your worksheet today. When you twice something, you have to twice something today. What does that mean, Ms. Paramo? You have to multiply by 2. Keep that in mind. The area of a rectangle whose length, this is where it gets hard, whose length is 6 feet more than its width. What is, bless you, the area of the rectangle when its width is 12 feet? The area of a rectangle whose length is 6 feet more than its width. What is the area of the rectangle when its width is 12 feet? It's going to ask you to do 2 things on homework questions like this. It's going to ask you, 1, write an equation that represents the area. So it's going to ask us to write an equation that represents the area. And the second question is, what is the area of the rectangle when its width is 12 feet? So what we have to do is remember what is the formula for the area of a rectangle. Let's go with that. Area of a rectangle. I'm hoping you know what it is. What is the formula for the area of a rectangle? Anybody? Length times width. And there's no height on a rectangle. Rectangular prism, there's a height, but there's no height here. Length times width is the area of a rectangle. So if I know that, what I have to do now is I have to dissect this paragraph and start writing equations based off of what I read. If the area of a rectangle whose length is, that's telling me something. The length. In your, on some of your worksheets, there's going to be a letter that follows it, and it's going to tell you use L or something along those lines. Let's use L for length. Whose length is, let's do that. That's an equation. I can already tell. The length is L is, what does is mean?
Equal to.
The length is equal to 6 feet more than its width. Let's write a quick equation for that. The length is what? It's going to be 6 feet more than. What does that mean? Connor is the one who told us what it was. What did more than mean again, Connor? Right. So what am I going to do with this 6, Connor?
So, after the 12.
I don't want you to plug in numbers yet, but you're going to go after. What am I going to do with it? Am I adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing? Adding 6 after something. And whose length is 6 feet more than what? Its width. Its width. And what is the width? What variable should we use for width?
W.
So I'm going to put a W there. Here is your first equation that you need to use, and it comes from reading the sentence, just like what we were doing before. The length is W plus 6. I'm not going to answer this question yet. I'm going to answer the first question. Write an equation that represents the area. That's my first question. And the way I have to do that area is I need to know what the length is and what the width is. Now I know what the length is. The length is W plus 6. So for this side of the rectangle that has an L next to it, let me zoom in so you can see my little drawing there. This side that's the length, I'm going to use W plus 6. It's the width plus 6 more. Do I know what the W is yet? Nope. Well, I do, but I'm going to put W. I'm going to put it in terms of the variable right now. And if you're trying to find the area, earlier we wrote down that the area is the length times the width. This times that. All I have to do is write it like this. Here's the answer to part 1. The area is equal to this width times this length. Length times width. W plus 6. You could multiply it out, but there's no need to. All we have to do, write an equation that represents the area. The area is going to be the width times W plus 6. This is the answer to part 1. Part 1. And Connor and I heard a couple other people were saying, I already know what the width is. The width is going to be 12. Yes, but that's going to be our answer for part 2. What is the area of the rectangle when its width is 12 feet? Now we can plug in 12 feet for the width. The area equals 12 times 12 plus 6. If that number is too big for you, order of operations says do what's in parentheses first, or you can use the parenthesis button on your calculators if you want yours to match up with what it looks like. But the calculator is going to know order of operation, do what's in parentheses first, then it'll do multiplication. Do you know what it is? Give a guess.
150 something.
Okay, the actual answer is 216. For those of you doing mental math, you got it right. This is actually 216 feet squared, because this is 12 feet, and that's 12 feet plus 6 more feet, and we have feet times feet, and that's feet squared. Area is always in square feet. That's how we measure area of walls, of floors. It's used in real life. If you want to know how much paint to buy to paint your room, you got to know how much square footage you have. And so a can of paint will say this covers this many square feet. This is exactly kind of stuff we do for that.